I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs spoon. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make a man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Naja boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Django. Get it from my mama, hip so thick that I need tempo. Personality spicy, body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu, since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing. You need endurance to go in, I got mileage on this pen. I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly! Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Arthur.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Arthur.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love him when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. And it's so good to see you guys on this Friday night. I'm so sorry I'm absolutely late. I tried to do a day show, but it did not work out. I've been just working with a lot of different people, and so it's just been very energy. I think it's just like an energy vampire. But we'll get into it. It's energy absorbing, I guess I could call it, or So I've just been, going over everything I can, getting notes together, trying to piece everything together that I've talked to people about. And so it's, it is tedious, but it will pay off in the end because we're going to have a really good idea of what has transpired, especially since we're late to this shit show. Welcome in, Chuchi. Thank you so much. Thanks for hitting the like button, you guys. Please, everyone, be mindful that this is an adult show. Night Court is an adult show. And thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it, Chuchi. Hey, Bo. I hope you feel better, Bo. I know that you haven't been feeling the greatest. So, and it's that time of the year, stuff going around and it's cold. And um, there you go. Chuchi's got it. Chuchi says, do simmering pot on the stove with lemon and lime, with rosemary, with cloves and a drop of eucalyptus oil in it, and that'll help with the sickness in the air. Thank you, Chuchi, so much for that. I know, and it's not affecting me as much. It's cold in Florida, but at nighttime, but during the day it warms up quite a bit, and so I'm not in the regions that are getting all of the cold and snow and everything. Hey, Sandwich, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Also, Gail is here. Thank you for the blue hearts, Gail. Thank you so very, very much. And also, Chuchi, thank you for all the purple and green hearts, and also for our hawks or eagles in the chat. Uh, so we have a lot of cases and we put the hearts out there, and I've noticed the green ones, blue ones, purple ones. So thank you guys so much for the hearts. I really appreciate it. Hey, Witchy Mama, good to see you. Also, I see Gail and Deanna's here. So good to see you guys. Hey, Blessed in Florida, how you doing? Good to see you. And also, Andrea's here. Christy Smith, good to see you, little Miss Sharon. Oh, wonderful. Hey, Ann Reynolds, good to see you. Nancy Fleming is here. Let's see, who else do we have? I don't want to miss anybody. And welcome in everyone who is here. So tonight we have a pretty sad shows planned for the evening. Devlin Tate's case is a very difficult one to follow because there's a lot of people involved as well as the circumstances Devlin was under or in. And so it is very difficult to talk about Devlin's story. Hey, Jilly, good to see you. Tracy, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Um, so we're unraveling uh, more and more of what has happened to Devlin. And I think that as we dive into everything and we consider everything, um, we could find where he is, right? It's a very small area. Um, Heavily wooded, right? And then of course right now we're again battling with the elements. Um but I don't see how anyone could have pulled something off to this magnitude that would require so much effort on the part of law enforcement, for example, or even on the part of anybody else. I don't think that Devlin's case got the coverage that it deserved. Hey, lovable mama bear. Hey, Veronica, good to see you. I also don't think that Devlin's story um, was actually seen for what it is, and what it was. And so I'm hoping to kind of help everybody understand that a little bit better. Um, in the process of talking to the family members, I have talked to Tamara mostly. I've talked to Sabrina a little bit, right? She came up and answered questions on the panel. She also, hey, Holly, she also was in the chat that day. But Tamara's been in here. Matt Tait has been in here. That is also Tamara's brother, right? Tamara was one who was the head of the household, so to speak, her house that Devlin was living in, and so was Sabrina and her boyfriend Will with Sabrina's young son. at the time of Devlin's disappearance. And so those are important people in the story, in my opinion. And other than that, they are his family. So we've talked with them. We've also talked with Matt Tait. He has been in the chat here as well. I'll be working on trying to get a follow up with him, just to answer some questions, to maybe fill in some gaps in the timeline if he can. Right? Because I've talked to a lot of people and sometimes they just say they don't know or they can't remember or whatever. Whatever they want to tell me, whatever they decide to say, right? For whatever reason. So it's a lot to sift through, um, and to consider. So that's what I've been doing, kind of behind the scenes, working on compiling everything together. So I have some text messages that I want to share with you all tonight and some of my findings, right? Yeah, another family with the RSO. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of them. And so it's no wonder that Devlin would be in a situation where he's always hyper vigilant, right? Um it also would cause a lot of issues for Devlin, especially when we think of someone who has sensory issues. And I find it to be very, very sad that these things were not considered. And we're definitely going to get more into that as we go along, because in Devlin's case, we have people who are trying to point the finger at each other, but really it's a lack of self-awareness that comes into play and plays a very big role in that. And that always becomes an issue for all of us, kind of trying to figure out who's telling the truth, who's lying, who is, just trying to be in self-preservation mode, and who is, actually um, about finding Devlin, right? And also who is willing to just say this is what it is, right? And for the most part, Jessica has done that. Most recently, Tammy decided to send me some text messages, which has kind of helped along what was really an inevitability, right? So, what I mean by that is that it was inevitable that Jessica and I were going to probably not end on the best terms. One reason for that is because she was upset about me not only allowing her to have a voice, she wanted me to pick sides. So, without telling me that, she's never come out and said, I want you to pick sides, Lady Freedom. What she's said is the contrary, which is, I just want my son found. Um, which I believe her about that. I do. Maybe that's foolish of me. Hey, Shadow, good to see you. Hey, Cece, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Welcome in everyone. Thank you, Cinderella, and I'm so sorry if I miss anybody coming in, but thank you so much for being here. Please chat it up, guys. I want to know your thoughts on this. This is wild and crazy, and we're gonna go over the very last text that Devlin sent to his mother. The very last text correspondence, excuse me, not phone calls or logs, just the text correspondence. Um, so we're gonna dive into that at the end here. But I wanted to also paint the picture. You all know that I do that through my artistic expression with my videos, and that's how I paint the picture for you of what I'm trying to convey to you. I want you guys to do your own research and think for your own selves, and I also would love the feedback, right? Like, Lady Freedom, I think this part's great, but what about this part? I don't agree here. Or, hey, I disagree on this one, but you got it spot on that, or whatever it is. Or you could say to me, Lady Freedom, I think that this is completely stupid and this is why. But please always give me a reason why you think it's stupid or that you are disagreeing with me, because it helps me understand better, and that way maybe I'll change my mind on it, because that happens. That's the beauty of me putting this out there for you guys, and for you guys to tell me in the comments, email, whatever it is, that you agree or disagree, or what your thoughts are, because at night court, your thoughts and opinions matter, right? It's the court of public opinion, nothing more. That's all it is the court of public opinion, and we all have an opinion to share. And so if somebody's quiet and they don't share their opinion, we may be missing something huge, right? Because someone's afraid to talk. So please, by all means, tell me what you think. And here we go. All right. So just kind of wanted to play that a little bit before so that way it'll be smoother. So Devlin Lee Hatfield Tait had no one who cared about him more than themselves, is the conclusion in the beginning. We're going to Tarantino this shit, because basically Devlin had no one. Thank you, little Miss Sharon. I love hearing from you guys. I love it, because that way, because I don't want you to be afraid to share your opinions with me, because like I said, it could be something that's super important. And just because you don't want to, so don't ever think you guys will upset me with your opinions. You never will. But tell me why. Tell me something that I can consider, and then I could get my wheels turning, and we could be onto something, and you were right the whole time and I was thinking of it a different way, right? And that's why it's so important for me to get a good timeline in the situation too, so that way we could take a proper timeline and get it out to everybody, and then you guys can say, okay, lady, here, look at right here, what about this time frame, what about this? So very similarly to the Sebastian Rogers case, we try to pin that down as well. Did he get home from the Texas Roadhouse at 7 o'clock at night? Sure, we think so. Somewhere around 7 o'clock, he arrived home, took out the trash, blah blah blah. Right, the rest we're kind of piecing together. We do know that Sebastian went to bed at 9, according to his mother, right? But there's some people that think that Sebastian didn't make it home at all. So in other words, somebody, did a handoff on the way home from the Texas Roadhouse. There would have to have been something like that to happen, right? Or behind somewhere at the Texas Roadhouse. I don't know. There's that one video that looks like someone did get out of a vehicle. Texas Roadhouse is extremely busy on a Sunday in Hendersonville, Tennessee. I know that for a fact because I was there. So just those little things, right, are going to help us with the timeline. But either way, we can work off of one theory or another. With Devlin, we're still trying to figure out, did he, leave the house that morning? Is that absolutely true? And I'm still wondering about it myself, because, I'm kind of teeter-tottering on, yeah, there's video, no, there's not video, because I've never seen the video. So, I am a person of show me. But with Devlin's case, I don't think that there was anyone in his life, in his family life, who cared about Devlin more than themselves, right? And then we have Devlin with a couple of different girlfriends. I've heard the name Katie brought up for a girlfriend. I know Marie was a girlfriend of his, but I also have heard the name Katie now. That is a girlfriend of Devlin's. So if you are Katie, a girlfriend of Devlin's, please reach out to me. All you have to do is go to my channel here on YouTube, click the link for my email, and send me an email, please. That would be dandy. All right, so there's that. Let's just kind of go forward here. Okay, guys, so we have everyone failing Devlin. So just for those of you who don't know the story, Devlin Tait went missing from Lake Odessa on April 21st, 2025, and he hasn't been seen or heard from since. Right? He lived with Tamara in the striped shirt and the tan coat, Sabrina, who's in the Star Wars t shirt, and then his mother, Jessica, lives in Arizona. All three of these adults failed Devlin. No matter which one of them wants to point the finger elsewhere, they should all take that finger and point it at themselves. Period. That's it. And this is not to judge someone, but this is to understand the case as it is, right? Because it is what it is. We can't change it. We wish it wasn't this way because we don't want to ever think that Devlin had to endure the things that he had to endure. But everyone failed him in this situation. Sammy, good to see you. And I don't mind saying that because I don't like to pick sides. I think it's important to tell Devlin's story. So in telling this young man's story, we have to be honest because I would rather do that than Devlin come up, that he's hiding somewhere, right? Or he ran away or something and he's been watching this the entire time and he tells me, Lady Freedom, you didn't tell my story, but you knew things, but you didn't tell my story. That would be the worst case scenario for me as a person, for this young man to say, you did really good on this or that, but you didn't tell my story. You didn't tell it like how it needed to be told. Right? And then me knowing this information, there's no way I could live with myself. So I have to be true to myself. So they all failed Devlin, every single one of yous, right? And there were more people that failed Devlin too, because somebody could have stepped up, someone could have intervened, someone could have helped out. But instead, Devlin was caught in this incredibly toxic situation where he was having to fend for himself, and it was very difficult for him, and we'll see that. Okay, here's one of Devlin's Facebook accounts, which he has a lot of them. Thank you, Choo-Choo. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Because this has been, a long time coming of gathering information as well as, giving things time. I give things time, guys. I don't just jump the gun on things. I give things time. I let people stew in their situation or in their feelings or whatever they need. If they need time, I give it to them. And so I give them their time. And in the meantime, I work to find Devlin. Right? So, but this was sent over to me December 10th, 2024, out of Devlin's mouth. And his feeling is, I'm feeling pissed off, right? He's feeling pissed. He's got a couple people with him, so that's good at least. He's got some peeps. Thanks, peeps, for being there for Devlin. I'm severely pissed off right now to the point I'm starting to have back-to-back panic attacks. That's how pissed off I am. People want to sit there and disrespect me and pin it all on me to the point that my adopted mom went off on Tammy and told her that she would gladly go to jail over me. And Tammy told her go right ahead and that she didn't care. Okay. So that was on December 10th of 2024, right? We know back in October of 2024, Devlin was being kicked out of the house regularly, right? And because he was being kicked out on the regular, he was calling certain friends. Yo, yo, yiggity, yo, thanks for being here, Joe. So, that's a lot of rhyming. I didn't expect that to just pop right out. So with that being said, Devlin, now we are seeing, is not having a good day, every once in a while. Every freaking day, this kid was dealing with something, some kind of drama, something somebody created, the family, the this, the that, the other thing, you know, Chuchi. you know, and it was always something with these people. That's sad for Devlin, right? Because his family, of course, will never point their fingers at themselves. So they point them outwards and they say, well, people were bullying him in the community. Really, Tammy? Because I don't see anybody in the community being mentioned as a bully. I do see you being mentioned as a bully. I've seen Sabrina, Aunt Bean, be mentioned as a bully. But it always comes back to you, Tamara. It always comes right back to you. And I think that's why you keep trying to push it out towards other people. But, you and Jessica are so much alike, and I think that's why y'all don't get along. Let's watch. All right. So these texts were sent to me by Tamara Tait. Okay. These are text correspondence from January 9th of 2025. So we just saw one from December 10th, right? So this is about a month later, right? And please feel free to send me the text messages, right? So we can put the holes in the story. If you think you have something to send me that pertains to this nonsense and this fuckery and this abuse towards this child, please send it to me, right? Don't just say you're going to send it to me, though. Really send it to me, because these are 6 text messages and Tammy just hits it out of the fucking ballpark. 6 text messages and she cuts everything down to size. So even though she is pitiful, right? She actually tells the truth sometimes. All right, folks. So we have Thursday, January 9th, around 3 p.m. Jessica, or Jess, Devlin said you are in the hospital. I hope everything is okay. Now we can tell already that these are from Tammy because of the little, whatever the frig they call these things. I forget. But either way, dot, 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 dot. Okay. So, Jess, you are in the hospital. I hope everything is okay. He's pissed because you won't answer him at all. I need to talk to you about him when you can and are able to take a few to walk or text, or excuse me, to talk or text, excuse me. So, we have Tammy in the green, right? And Jessica sends her back this message at 10:25 that night. She says, "I have been in the hospital. I literally just got home from Phoenix, and Devlin can go." Oh, sorry guys, I might have to do that. Okay. Right ahead, right? She says, "And be pissed. I'm going to need a few days to figure things out because right now I'm not really sure how to handle Devlin when it comes to him finding out what's going on with my health because I'm not sure he can handle it." Okay? Everybody with me? Ellipses. Thank you. Thank you, Sammy. I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. I just see them now and I have post-traumatic stress from them. Right? I want to duck and cover. I see the ellipses and I'm like, ah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a reaction I'm getting from them, you know? Thank you, Little Miss Sharon. Thank you. Little Miss Sharon says it's very difficult for normal people to understand someone who is autistic dealing with living on survival, survival mode every single day. Thank you, Little Miss Sharon. And autistic people shouldn't have to deal with surviving every day. Thank you so much for saying that, Little Miss Sharon. And that is 100% the truth, in my opinion, right? Because we all deserve a place to go, our safe spot, right? Where we feel like we're okay. And constantly being in that survival mode is absolutely difficult for anyone. And then we add in these horrible circumstances on top of what he's already dealing with, right? And no one's giving him any type of compassion or care. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And it is difficult for normal people to understand it, Little Miss Sharon. So thank you. So then we also have Tammy saying, why in the green, what's going on? And then Jessica tells Tammy, I have cancer, and given his history with your dad and the way he still is about his passing and everything. So right here, the cancer and knowing that Bill Tait passed away from cancer and Devlin's having a hard time with his passing and everything he's already going through in Michigan, Jessica says, I'm not sure he can handle that right now. So I'm not sure how or what to say to Devlin next time I talk to him. Now, cancer isn't something that you just catch, right? Cancer isn't something that comes and goes. No, you get treatment for it. So if Jessica had cancer in January of 2025, then she probably would have been going through treatments over this last year, but she hasn't been. Right? And if we look back at pictures of Jessica, she has all of her hair all of the time. She never has ever said, please pray for my cancer. And many, many people that I spoke to, now that I've had these text messages, when I ask them if Devlin's ever mentioned that his mother had cancer, they all say no, except for I've heard from a couple of people that he knew, right? That he knew that she was saying that, but did he believe her is the question. And I'm going to say probably not, because another source told me that Devlin is extremely street smart and he knows when people are just messing with him. These people are so much, Holly. These people are much too much, too much. You know, um, it's amazing to me. And then we have the crisis actors and the ones that are trying to act like they're all about finding Devlin all of a sudden when he's been missing for all of this time. I'm just glad I lit a fire under those people's asses over there. I'll be glad to do it anytime they need me to, because this kid needs to be found. But this shows me that Jessica herself cares more about herself and her lies and manipulations than she does about Devlin. So in the green is Tammy, and she says to Jessica, cancer where? What kind? Is it curable? Right? And here's where you can see Tammy actually in her text messages changing her tune. She knows how to use a comma all of a sudden, for one. But the second thing, but the second thing I noticed is you're not seeing those dots until the end, right? The Ulysses or whatever at the until the end. Ellipses, excuse me. Until the end. No Ulysses S. Grant until the end, folks. Right? So it even scared Tammy a little bit. If you look at this message, right? And I know how Tammy talks. I know how she writes, right? By now. I study these people. Don't think I'm a fool. Any of you's listening, because I'm not one. So we have this. I have leukemia and I've been fighting it off and on for years now, says Jessica to Tammy, who's scared now because she's like, oh my God, my dad just died from cancer. Right? And she's worried about Jessica, but that's what Jessica's MO is. Worry about me, pity me, feel sorry for me, me. I have leukemia and I've been fighting it. I can't even say it with a straight face for off and on. Oh my fucking God. For years now. I was in remission for a while, but it's back now. Yep. I hate when cancer acts up on you. Don't you guys hate that? Don't you hate it when, like, 1 minute you have cancer and the next minute you don't? It's kind of annoying, isn't it? Crazy. It's absolutely friggin' insane. And this kid lost his father, the only father that has ever claimed, and treated somewhat like a father to him, passed away from cancer in 2023. Right? This is the beginning of 25. But it's back now, and that explains my symptoms for the last few months. Unfriggin' believable. And sad and pathetic. All right. He's going to go off on Matt, says Tamra. He's telling Mama that she doesn't control his phone and on, right? So Jessica says back to Tammy, she might not control his phone, but I do, so he better watch the way he wants to talk to your mom. So right here we have Devlin being ganged up on by all of the adults in his life. Right? Everybody's just ganging up on him. We're going to take your phone, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Well, she might not have control, but I do. And, then Devlin's stuck there with all of them griping and bothering him. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I'm going to have a special guest to talk about that missing beyond borders. Thank you for being here. Didn't his adopted father do things to him that caused him to be taken away and placed with Tammy or Sabrina? Yes. But he was placed. So the first part is a yes. The second part is he was actually placed with a Gordon Tait, who is one of their other brothers. So, thank you for being here and thank you for your question. So here we have Tamara saying back then, he's calling Matt to go off on him because I guess Matt said something to him about how much he shouldn't be talking to Ray Ray. He just called you a dumbass. All right. So there's a couple of things to unpack here. So he's going to call Matt to go off on Matt, which is his the other brother, right, in the family. Tamara's brother. And she says, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Absolutely. Missing Beyond Borders. Thank you. Thanks Holly for the super sticker. Thank you so much. And thank you also to little Miss Sharon for the Lady Freedom's Raw Narratives membership. And if you got a membership, please say thank you and welcome to the Dragon Tribe. So we have that happening right within this family. So he's going to call Matt, who is I have to fix this family tree again. Because there's other things that have come to my attention. But just for tonight's purposes, I want to show you guys who Matt Tait is. He's in the lower corner, right hand of the screen. Just so you can see that. He is Tammy's brother. So, and with that, he was the one that was saying that he can't be talking to Ray Ray. Now, Ray Ray is one of Jessica's many boyfriends that she has. And Jessica is very focused on men and not her child. That is one of Jessica's weaknesses, downfalls, one of the things that she can do better with, right? If she chooses to do so, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. But this is a pattern with Jessica. It needs to be discussed. And again, I'm telling Devlin's story, not any of theirs. So if it's something that directly affected Devlin, I'm going to talk about it. So they and Tammy, knowing this part with Ray was going to set off Jessica, right? She used it as a manipulation, in my opinion. Absolutely. Unequivocally. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. All right. So then we have, he just called you a dumbass. So we have Tammy telling Jessica, he just called you a dumbass. And instead of being the parent and stopping this situation, right? And saying, hold on, everybody needs to settle down. Devlin, don't say that to your mom. You know, you need to calm down. Nobody takes the reins of this conversation. Not one single person takes the reins and says, you know what we're going to do now? We're going to be adults. Devlin is the child and he needs help right now because he's going through a lot of things, right? But nobody does that. Instead, Tammy says, he called you a dumbass, da 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 da, right? Like a child. And it's quite ridiculous. And this is, Tammy sent me these text messages, y'all. So, you know, don't come for me saying Lady Freedom is a liar. She's saying all this. No, this is me analyzing these text messages. If you want to analyze them differently, please, by all means. We need all the heads on this that we can get people thinking. Let's go. Jessica says, tell him to come at me like that, right? About calling her a dumbass. So tell him to come at me like that to my face right now and see how fast I go to boost and turn his phone off right now. Right? So instead of Jessica saying, okay, well, that was inappropriate, you know, or something like that, or not responding back to it, she feeds right into the bullshit. Having a phone is a privilege, not a requirement. She says to Tammy, and Tammy writes back, he said you should have called his goddamn phone if she didn't believe me. Right? So here's Tammy trying to tell her something and, you know, botches it all up. Right? So Devlin's saying, if you don't believe me, you should have called my GD phone. And this is Tammy telling that to Jessica. So Jessica here admits to hanging up on Devlin. Just remember that, please. If you guys don't remember any of this stuff, remember that part. So I just hung up on him, says Jessica. Again, so bet he's talking shit again. I literally just got AJ to take a nap and Devlin woke him up with this bullshit. And I'm sorry it was cut off at the end, but that's how I received the text messages. So we see that they're ganging up on Devlin and, you know, then there was a bunch of stuff skipped, right? So now she says, yeah, well, I'm thinking that after his bullshit last night that I'm done paying a dime for anything until he willingly checks himself in somewhere, gets the help he needs. I'm definitely not purchasing any type of ticket to Arizona until he does so. So if he wants to come out here, he can either get help or find a way to purchase his own ticket. So I don't understand that at all. That part right there is very bothersome to me. And the reason why it's bothersome to me is because in one breath she's saying that Devlin needs really bad help, right? He needs help so bad. Excuse me. He needs help so bad. But then again, she says that he needs to come up with his own money to get there. So she doesn't really care whether he gets help or not. She just wants him to get his own money to get there. Y'all watching this? I mean, this is unbelievable. And this is something that I've been dealing with for a while now with this case, because I was waiting for Tammy to send me more text messages and she's yet to do it. Right? But she sends me these ones. And so here I'm waiting for more context and for her to send me more text messages, and she still hasn't. Right? But I will say that Tammy at least has signed up Devlin for Missing in America, so at least she's done that much. Right? So then she tells him that he's going to need to purchase his own ticket. After all the bullshit last night, that she's done paying a dime on anything until he's willing to check himself in somewhere, because it's so bad that he needs to check himself in. But then she's saying, I'm definitely not going to purchase him a ticket to Arizona until he does. So either he gets the help or he buys his own ticket. Again, she's making this very confusing, and not just to someone who has autism. It's confusing to anybody who reads it. He doesn't know any of this yet, though, right? So she's talking behind his back to people who are abusing him actively. And she says back to Jessica, Tammy does, is, well, you'll need to tell him that. Right? So she's like, I want you to break Devlin's heart. Go tell him. Tell him right now. I want to see his reaction. Fucking sick fucks. Come on. Night court. January 7th, right? So that was these text messages that we went through did not give an exact these text messages that we went through, I'm going to say some of the ones I was thinking about were from Facebook that don't give an exact date. The ones that we just saw were from January 9th. Now, this one is from January 7th. And it says, I need prayers for my mama. She's currently in the hospital right now. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but I need all the prayers I can get. What a sweet kid. So this is how Devlin acts. But we also saw that this is 2 days before they did all that stuff to him. Right? Ganging up on him, acting like a bunch of jerks, right? But 2 days before this, he was saying, I need prayers for my mama. Right? And Jessica saying she was in the hospital. Right? But she already did that to him before, too. It's ridiculous. Right? So this is what Devlin had to deal with. I'm feeling concerned about my mother. That's what Jessica wants, though, is for people to feel concerned for her, play the violin for her, feel sorry for her. What about Devlin? So this is Charlene Bowen. And she says to Devlin, I hope it's not from stress, prayer hands. Right? I hope it's not from stress. It's so sick the way that he was treated. So sick. And it just keeps getting worse and worse, because I actually thought maybe his mom was at least being forthright and honest and cared about him, but this just proves that they were all on the same abuse as each other. He had no one he can count on at all, Holly, and he doesn't talk about anybody bullying him in the community. He talks about how they were bullying him. So this was 46 weeks ago, guys. Devlin's been missing for 7 months, almost 8 months coming up on. Right. So there's a person in the community that commented, the only 2 comments. Now we have on February 26th of the same year. So, that was back in January. Now we're on February. Jessica Peckham puts Devlin puts to his mother, Jessica, Mama, try not to think about him. I love you with all my heart. I hate seeing you cry. I almost ended up in tears seeing you cry. I would protect you any day as well. Okay? So Devlin feels a duty to protect his mother, to comfort his mother, to make her feel better. And that is what a good boy does. So thank you, Devlin, for being a sweet, good person. Right? He was like a damn ping pong ball, Sam. I can't believe it. You know? Sam, I know, I've tried really, really hard. And the thing is that I'll just let them talk. And that was what was upsetting to Jessica and to begin with me was that I was letting Sabrina and Tammy and all of them talk. But that's how we get to the bottom of things, you know? How else do we do it? Everyone was out for themselves and used Devlin for manipulation and their own greed. And it didn't stop, Cece. You're absolutely correct. And it didn't stop when he went missing. It's like it's amplified. Now they have attention on themselves and they all want to be in the spotlight, right? Well, you know what can get you in the spotlight the fastest is going out there and doing something for Devlin, right? You want somebody to think you're friggin' Mother Teresa? Go out there and act like Mother Teresa. It's ridiculous. And I feel so bad for this kid. So Jessica writes back to Devlin, easier said than done, especially when he keeps highlighting me in posts that are clearly nothing more than lies since he was so quick to break my heart the way he did. So this is Jessica, a grown woman, talking to her son like they're at a martini bar having drinks over a breakup. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because this is not an appropriate conversation at all. Not at all, right? Worry about me, care about me, feel sorry for me. Me. So Devlin, being a sweetheart that he is, he says, "I know, mama, but I'm here whenever you need me. I'm only one call away." Right? So it was nice of her to say, "I know you are my love." Right? But it's almost kind of a little bit creepy. I know you are my love. Yeah, that's the reaction I wanted. Good boy. You know, it's highly manipulative and super toxic, to say the least. All right. Or Jessica says, and I'm sorry you had to watch me cry. I do everything in my power not to let my children see me cry. But after seeing that, excuse me, after seeing that, I wouldn't hold back my tears anymore. Right? So, or I couldn't something happened between her and some dude. Okay, this is how dramatic she's being about her and some dude, right? So she's just so over dramatic, telling her son all this, but then she also wants to make sure that publicly she doesn't look like a jerk. So she says, "I do everything in my power not to let my children see me cry." Then you wouldn't have called your son that was in Michigan on a FaceTime if you didn't want to see if you didn't want him to see you in that condition. It's not the same as if he was living with you or in the same area as you, where he just stopped by and saw you crying. No, cut the shit. It's ridiculous. Some lady Dot says, her aunt says, Aunt Dot's always here, right? And then Devlin says, "Mama, I love you more than you will ever know," which is really sweet. She says, "I love you too always. No matter what you say or do, you will always be my firstborn son." So let's examine this. Let's psychoanalyze this. Let's put it on the couch. Okay. Devlin says, "Mama, I love you more than you will ever know." So she doesn't understand how much that he loves her, right? And he's trying to convince her of how much, right? And then Jessica says, "Devlin, I love you too, always will, no matter what you do or say," right? So no matter what you do or say, she's saying that he does all this bad stuff, but I still love you anyway. Always will. Toxic, toxic, and more toxic. Devlin's giving far more love than he's receiving. And now we're going to see how Jessica is socially. And I'm her guinea pig, right? Because on Tuesday, November 25th, I sent Jessica a text message and I said, Jessica, hi, hey, how you doing today? Right? Prior to this, I had a conversation with Jessica and I told her that we were going to need to start reaching out to some more resources, that I really am worried about her mental health status because of the Facebook posts and going onto these Facebook groups where there's a lot of drama and a lot of crap going on. I said, it's she's voiced that this is an issue for her, and I told her that, I just would advise you not to, go on there, and come be a part of the community for Devlin on Facebook, excuse me, not Facebook, YouTube. And so I said, I'll go ahead and give you a link for the Discord. You don't even have to worry about buying a membership or anything. And you can come in there and talk about whatever you want to talk about Devlin's case. So that way you don't have to feel like you're going to this crazy, drama filled situation. So I was giving her, options and resources, and she was making up every single excuse in the book. Um, every single excuse in the book. We'll just put it that way, right? And lucky for me, I was on a three-way with Chuchi because I knew that it was going to be a very let's just say I knew it was going to be a very interesting conversation, and I didn't want to be the only one that was present to hear the fuckery. Just putting it quite frankly, because I already knew that it was not going to be a fun conversation. I had already planned on, asking Jessica some hard questions. And I knew that she wasn't going to appreciate that. And I also saw that she had a very horrible attitude in Jen's chat, in my chat, up on the panel, different things. And so I wanted to discuss it with her. So this was all prior to that. That night, we had come to an understanding, I thought, and it was to focus on finding Devlin, focus on the resources. Don't worry about the drama, no matter what anybody says. If somebody says something really horrible, we can always address it on the show, and things like that, to make her feel like she had a good outlet and somewhere that she felt safe, that she could talk. And also, Chi Chi did a really good job of helping with the situation in terms of, making Jessica feel more comfortable, and that we had her back, right? As long as, she wanted us to do that for her. If she wants to go online and go and deal with all the drama on Facebook, let her do it. If she would like to come into a Discord where we want to talk about Devlin's case and actually try to figure out what happened to him, I think that would be a better use of her time. And it would take care of her mental health problems going on Facebook, because it is a lot. It's very difficult. It'd be difficult for anyone. And then she's dealing with her son being missing, right? So we were trying to get her that. I had given her a couple of people to call. One was Jen. Um, Email, all of her contact information. I also linked her up with a couple of the search and rescue teams that I had already sent her, right? But I was giving it to her in a shorter list. That way she could maybe try to get some of them done, right? Because the only people that can reach out to these people are the family members, period. End of story. You have to be a relative of theirs in order to get these resources going. So I was checking on Jessica to see how it was going. I just said, "Hey, Jessica, how are you doing today?" She says, "Not very well." I said, "Were you able to reach out to any of the resources? Before it gets cold, we are really need to get a hold of them, at least make sure they're aware, also with the DNR because of it's hunting season." Right? She says, "I've been paying bills and trying to get prescriptions, dealing with Carrie Joe and appointments all day. I'm currently very highly irritated." AJ just got done with speech therapy. Okay. Well, you're highly irritated. All right. And AJ got out of speech therapy. I don't know what that has to do with Devlin, but okay. She says, or I say back to her, I'm in the green, by the way, guys. So I said, so what's going on with Carrie Joe? I know she is just trying to help with these resources. It's just so important to do before it gets cold. And I'm sorry you are irritated, right? And I had asked Carrie Joe if she could possibly help out with getting some of these resources and helping Jessica with them, right? Because I thought it would be something that would be a positive thing, especially because she's usually, um, very talkative with Carrie, and so that's a good thing, right? And they've known each other for a while. So I figured, let's do that. So that didn't work out very well because now she's talking crap about Carrie. And I'm like, well, I asked her to help. So I'm like, what's going on with Carrie? She says she had me on the phone this morning for over an hour, right? I said, did you guys get some things knocked out? Right? And here, I mean, I'm just trying to stay on task, and Jessica's trying to pull me off every chance she gets. And I'm like, no, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, and this at this point, Chuchi and I talked to her on a Thursday, and this was right before Thanksgiving in the week, then I was checking in on her. So she had almost a week to do this and didn't do it. Right. And Friday she has a respite nurse with AJ and doesn't have to deal with anything with him. The nurse does everything for him on Fridays. So that's why we gave them these resources to her on a Thursday. Right? I was strategic in when I gave it to her so she couldn't back out of the deal. See what I'm trying to do here? I mean, yes, I'm being manipulative myself, but I'm trying to coax her in the right direction. So I'll admit that much, at least, that I was being manipulative on that Thursday, calling her, getting her set up, and reminding her about these resources, that the most important ones. I picked the top 5, and they were only 5 of them. So I asked her if she got some stuff knocked out with Carrie on the phone. She said no. She said, I can't just be on the phone talking to people when I need to be talking to people that can be doing more than what we are already doing. Okay, so there's another excuse that has nothing to do with the first one. It's just a big, gaggle of excuses, right? And I'm not going to put up with it. So here we go. I said you could be on the phone and email someone. I'm horrible at multitasker myself, but the emails can be sent anytime, right? So that means, like, even if you're on the pooper, even if you're, sitting waiting on an appointment, even if you're whatever, sitting there, whatever you're doing, right? Let's not worry about the men that you have in your life or that are past in your life. Let's worry about finding Devlin, right? Because there's far too much focus on these men than there is on, her children. In my opinion, that's a problem. So, or it's problematic. So she says she's one of those people that will have you on the phone forever. So again, she puts the blame on Carrie Joe, right? Which is not what we want to do. It's very important for the family members to be active in finding the missing loved one. So I said, I understand. She says, did you fill out? I said, I understand. I asked her, did you fill out the form for the search and rescue help? It's just your name, phone number, email, etc. Right? So I'm just telling her it's really, really easy. You don't have to worry about, a whole lot. You just, bang that baby out. You know your first and last name. You know your phone number. You know your email. Those are really quick, simple things that we can do to get the ball rolling, right? So instead, she goes, I'm also walking everywhere. I'm not just sitting in the comfort of my own home. And then she turns into Tammy, right? She turns right into Tammy with the ... dots, right? So that was a dig, getting a dig in on someone, whether it was me, whether it was, the man in the moon. It doesn't matter. Jessica will point the finger as long as it's not pointed at her. So she says, plus I have AJ full time since he is not in school this week. Okay, well, that still doesn't mean that you can't put an email out when he's sleeping or put your name into a form and get this ball rolling for your son. So I said, yeah, you told me he's off. She says, I'm currently waiting on a ride to a different pharmacy to get my meds than where they should have been this morning. I've been out of my meds for 3 days because people keep wanting to screw with my mental health. Okay, so people are screwing with her mental health, but that's very interesting. And I agree, Andrea, AJ full time, he's your child. Right. Yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? And it's crazy because she's angry about having to take care of her own child. She's angry about the fact that she doesn't have a vehicle. Those are not my fault. That's not my fault, right? It's not my fault that you've been without your meds for 3 days. And then listen to this, because she's not only blaming everybody around her, but she's also blaming Sunset Health. They need to get their shit together too, right? Jessica doesn't need to get her shit together. She's perfect, and everybody else needs to get their shit straight, right? So someone from the doctor's office called during the speech therapy appointment and supposedly arranged a ride, but it's 3:04 and they're not here. And I said, "Okay. So you could still do an email while you're sitting there waiting, right? While she's waiting for the car to arrive to pick up her highness, she can go and click onto her phone and put her name and her phone number and her email in the boxes. It's not hard, right? So I say, okay, so it's probably not going to happen with you reaching out to these resources. I just wanted to make sure I did everything I could, right? So I'm just as irritated myself, but I'm like, I'm not going to keep going back and forth with this. So I was I put the kibosh on it, right? And that's what I was doing. I was putting the kibosh on it because I couldn't take it anymore. So she says, "Wow, so there it is. I'm doing whatever I can and I'm continuing to do so while trying to do everything I have to do here, and you assume I'm not. Nice. I knew something about you in the last few days felt a bit off. Maybe it was because you haven't taken your medication in 3 days, Jessica. Did you ever think about that? That you just told me that you haven't taken your medicine in 3 days. But the last 3 days is I've been off." Hmm. Very strange. Sorry, I was just pausing just to let that sink in. So she says, I guess I was right. I guess I was right. Okay, that is very strange, right? So I told her, I'm not gonna keep going back and forth with you. Gail, she acts like it, right? She acts like it. She's like, do everything for me, me. She just got through telling me she's got to walk everywhere, but now she's waiting for a car to pick her up, right? Excuses and lies. She's lying to me right there, and I just caught her in a lie right there, right? So, um, and this isn't just the half of it that I haven't showed you guys because um Jessica had been acting very, very horribly from the time that I let Sabrina come up on the panel. She also didn't like it when I told her and Tammy both that they have to behave in the chat and they cannot be fighting back and forth. I told them both to cool it, and Jessica got hurt by it and got mad by it and didn't want to be put in the same category as Tammy. Well, guess what? You guys are exactly in the same category. You put yourself there. Yeah, that's right. With the dots and the dots and the just the nasty, vile attitude and nastiness towards someone who's done nothing but help you. Uh the last few days you have been acting very differently towards me for some reason, but for the life of me, I can't figure out why. So as I said before, Jessica, the reason why I started acting differently toward you was because of the way that you were acting. So when you went off on Tammy in my chat and got upset with me and started yelling at me over the phone because I told you both to cool it, that was the time when I started backing away from you as a person because I realized that you're not mature enough and you're not the person that I need to be working with to find Devlin, if we want to be completely honest. Right. But I still wanted to give you the confidence in knowing that you were his mother. And I was also hoping that you would reach out to the resources. So instead of me working directly with you, I started working independently and then sending you the resources that you were never reaching out to. And when I realized that that was going to be a dead end with you, I decided that I don't need that at all and I'll just find them myself. I don't need the extra crap, right? I need you to help and do your part, but you decide that you don't want to, right? So that's the reason why. You were also extremely rude to my friend Jeff when he was putting Devlin's stats in the live stream that I invited you to. You don't have a right to do that. You don't have a right to be rude to people who are working for you for free. You don't have a right. Neither does Tamra, and Sabrina has not been rude, to me at least. But neither one of you has the right to do that, and neither one of you had the right to do what you did to Devlin. So I told her, I need you, or excuse me, I just need you to reach out to these resources so I can go forward. Before it gets cold out, we need searchers to help. That's my goal. I have some more questions for you, but I haven't wanted to put that on you because I need you to reach out to these resources. That's what's important to me, right? So make no excuses about this one, make no mistakes about it. My goal is to find Devlin. All of your guys' drama that you send to me is at the bottom of my list, and I will get to it when I do get to it, as I'm doing so tonight. What's important to me is finding Devlin. So I was still working with his mother, trying to get her to reach out to these resources because that's what needs to be done. And here is where Jessica thinks that she's going to use my name as a weapon against me. Tuesday, November 25th, right? Still the same day. And what excuses, or excuse me, and what questions would those be, Trisha? I said, "Do you have leukemia?" Right? Now, mind you, I just asked her, "Do you have leukemia?" Right? Expecting her to say yes, but I didn't want to tell you. Yes, but I'm in remission. Any of those would have been sufficient. But instead, she says, "I've been fighting cancer on and off." I can't even say it without laughing, y'all. Excuse me. Give me a second. Because it's not funny. It's not funny. But it is to me because I'm inappropriate and I laugh when things are inappropriate. I have been fighting cancer on and off since I was a teenager. Why? What does my condition, my medical conditions and information have anything at all to do with my son's disappearance? I know, Andrea. Andrea says, "Holy crap, on and off." It's not on and off. Thank you. Because just like Tammy likes to tell me that Devlin got genital warts from a toilet seat, Jessica, cancer is not on and off. You guys are really like a fucking laugh riot. You know, the joke of a reward, all this shit is laughable. It really is. It really is. Thank you, Chuchi. Cancer is not something you want to use to manipulate with, in my opinion. Hey, Kelly, it's ridiculous, right? So I said you have never mentioned it to me, and Tam Tam sent me screenshots of it, so it was odd, right? So I said to her, you never mentioned that to me, right? Because if it was me and I had cancer and my son was missing, I would probably want to make sure that I found him before that, and that might be a topic to speak about to people and let them know, look, I'm battling this and I need to find my son as fast as possible because I don't know how much more time I have left. But we don't see that. No, because it's a fucking lie. This isn't about me, it's about my son. All of a sudden, it's not about her anymore, guys. Did you guys see the previous text messages? If you didn't, please be kind and rewind. All about her, all about her, all about her, and how AJ's this big burden on her, and she can't even email somebody or fill out a form, put out her own friggin' name in it. Right? So then she says, you don't want to talk, or I said to her, excuse me, you don't want to talk about getting people to find your son. You asked me what my questions were, and I answered you. I have to show my audience all of the information I gather. It's not only what you send me, it's what she sent me. Right? And she never asks to see what was sent, ever. I said she also sent me text from January of 25 of you saying you hung up on Devlin. Then she stirs the shit with telling you he called you a dumbass. I said, you think I like asking? I don't. You think I like asking this shit? I don't. You think I like dealing with this? I don't. You think I like helping someone who was just being a grifter? I don't. You think that I could have spent money on somebody else that deserved to have a good Christmas? Because I could have done that, right? But I thought that it would be a nice thing to do for you, Jessica. But we're about to see that you do that every single year. And you sit there with your hand out every single year, even though you can afford to give your own son a Christmas if you tried. Right? And I know that you received the items that I sent to you because it let me know I've yet to get a thank you. And I really don't want one because it's my word and I wanted to help AJ out. I just have serious doubts about the kind of person you are, let alone the kind of mother you are. So, this is what she sends me back. I never once said any of that I don't want to talk about getting people to find my son. What are you talking about? Like, seriously, what in the hell is going on? I've been asking you about the guy with the boat, still don't have any information about that. You've had an attitude with me for some reason for the last few days. Yep, because you had an attitude with Jeff and you had an attitude with my friend Jen, and I don't appreciate that. And you're not going to have an attitude with somebody and not get one right back, sister girl. Okay? Because I don't know who you think you are. All right. So she says, and I don't know why would I bring up my medical conditions that I am fighting or have been fighting my entire life when this isn't about me. This is about my son. So why am I going to interject my own issues into that? You always have, Jessica. You've come up on my panel and told everybody how you have how you have all these issues. I mean, girl, you told us about all kinds of issues. You even said on one of the panels that you were going to take your own life. Right? So please stop. We're not going to do that. Right? You asked me and I answered you. Right. And I asked you and you flipped out and you showed me that you are such a liar and that you cannot be trusted. Right? And I'm so glad that I came out and just asked you that because I was going to go ahead and just show the text messages and see what you had to say about it. right? Thank you. Cancer isn't funny, but fake cancer is. Thank you, Joe. That's perfectly said. Thank you. Um, yeah, I mean, it's sick. That this is a sickness that we're seeing, guys, right now. This is a sickness. It's not cancer though. I said in those text messages you were saying you have leukemia. Why are you mad? If you have leukemia, it's not a reason to get mad. Have you filled out the form from search and rescue? You said no. Emailed or called anyone? You said no, right? She said, I'm not mad about anything to do with me having cancer or the fact that I've been fighting it on and off. That's not in the slightest reason why I'm mad. Well, that's what made you mad to begin with, right? Because you were mad at everybody under the sun except for yourself, for your own circumstances and what you've done to put yourself there. Because last time I checked, me and Carrie Joe didn't have anything to do with what your circumstances and you putting yourself into it. KJ Mack, yeah, borderline personality for sure. Thanks, KJ. Yeah, absolutely. It's highly toxic, right? It's like it is like the most toxic thing ever, which is sad because this is who Devlin had to look up to. This is who Devlin, called his other mom, right? Which is sad because he went from one toxic situation in person to the next one. What I am saying is, why would I bring that up when it's not about me? It's about my son. Okay, Jessica, again, I've been furious, Andrea, and I've been just, trying to woosa because Goose Fraba, right? Because it's just something that I can't make up, right? This whole conversation started with how are you doing? Did you get the resources called for your son? Right. And now she's saying it's all about my son, but not about me. But it was all about her and not about her son all day because she didn't do anything to reach out to the resources, which is, highly manipulative for her to even try to put that back on me because I'm asking her if she lied about having cancer. Straight up, right? Do you have it? Yes or no? That was a yes or no answer. I told you my goal is to help with the resources being reached out to before it gets cold. You asked me what questions I have, and I asked, right? So I'm just trying to kind of keep her on task about her son. I said your response shows you were defensive and mad at me for asking. I'm going. I'm doing this as a courtesy to you, so you aren't shocked when they come out. You can be mad at me all you want. I am trying to help you. I want to help find Devlin. When you don't show me you are doing your part, I just figure there's no reason for me to work with you. You need to do your part, right? I don't know what else to say about that, guys, because that's exactly how I feel. But she needs to do her part. She didn't want to, right? I said, Tam Tam sending her shit to me shows me she is trying to discredit you. But when you aren't reaching out to resources, that puts me at just looking for Devlin on my own, right? And then she says, oh, really, Trish? That's what it says. Yeah, really. Really, that's what it says. I don't know. Somebody else can let me know what they think it says, but that's what I think it says. She says, "Oh yeah, really, Trish, is that's what it says. It has nothing to do with the fact that I've been extremely stressed out and dealing with all kinds of things the last 2 days you know nothing about and still continuing to go through hell. I don't care about anything that you're going through, Jessica, particularly. I care about finding your son. I never said that I was going to come in and help you and be a life coach. I said that I was going to come in and help you find your son, and that's what I fully intend on doing." Sam, it's me. I go by Trish or Trisha. Either one. Either one. Yeah. So, yeah. And you guys probably, I don't know, you guys probably saw me. I think I put it in my title before too. I don't care if people know my first name, guys. I'm proud of it. My mother gave me that name. I was named after her best friend, who was actually a really wonderful person. So, and Patricia means noble woman. So, yeah, I'm a noble woman, and that's what my name means, and I'm happy to have it. Um, when it's used as a weapon, I find it funny though, because that's what she's trying to do, right? Because she's trying to dox me in case I show these messages. But little does she know I've, been doxed. So I don't care. It doesn't make a fuck to me. But she says she says that she's been going through hell the past few days, right? Off her meds. She's fucking whacked out of her mind, but it's all my fault. Um, she says, no, that can't possibly have anything to do with my response, could it? I honestly don't give a flying fuck if it comes out. I said I have nothing to hide. Whoever, however, to answer you again, why would I bring anything up about my health like that when it's about Devlin and not about me? Why did you tell us that you have seizures, Jessica? New character unlocked, Sam. New character unlocked. Really, Bo? I didn't know that. Oh, aw, yeah. I just go by Trish or Trisha, and mainly because people would want to call me Patty and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to go by Patty, or Pat, because my ex-brother-in-law's name is Pat, so that's why I don't. It's not the same, right? But yeah, thank you. Thanks, Andrea. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm not afraid to be who I am. I have nothing to hide either. So, but I find it funny that Jessica's talking like this when we know I know every single health issue she has, right? Except for the cancer bit, right? And all of her pictures, she's got longer hair than me. She's got longer hair than everybody, and it's never changed, right? It's still the same length. It's been. So I said, life is stressful. I've been working for Devlin since the moment I took his case. I said, okay, good. I don't have any more questions. And I got a call scheduled with someone who you guys are going to hear from next week on my live. After my live, I'm getting ready for that. Right. So I just told her, like, I don't want to talk anymore. I'm done. I was highly disgusted and I was just completely grossed out. And so on this day before my live, I did block Jessica from the chat. So that's why you guys haven't seen her in here, because I'm not going to put up with um somebody trying to come in here and cause trouble, right? When all I'm trying to and focus the attention on her when I'm trying to talk about Devlin. But this is, what has transpired. So I just told her after my live, I believe it was, yeah, probably the next day or whatever. I've been working on putting together a timeline, the best one I can given all the inconsistencies in statements. I have also been invited on a podcast that I declined since Mary Much will be up there. Here is what Tamara sent to me. And so I sent her the text messages that Tamara sent to me, right? So she knew exactly what I was talking about and what I was going to be posting, because I had planned on posting them earlier than this. But I also wanted things to cool down. I do not want to put somebody in rage who is supposed to be taking care of a 3-year-old with who has severe autism, right? So again, with Jessica's mental health state, I decided to wait to show these. But I've known for a very long time, what was going on, and I even told you guys, just don't do the Christmas for AJ when I saw the list. We're going to go over that as well. But there was inappropriate things on there, and I just wanted to make sure we kept our word for us and our channel, to send that to AJ, and I hope he enjoys it. I hope it brings him lots of fun. So I didn't hear back from her, right? So I said, I'm just going to go ahead and pull the GoFundMe, because I had gotten also some messages from people talking about how they thought it was incredibly rude for Jessica to come up on the panel when she did the last time she was up and say that she only got $135 and that's not going to do anything to help her get to Michigan. And I had already had conversations with her. I was surprised that she brought it up on the panel, because I told her, we're not going to be able to facilitate you going to Michigan to get in trouble, right? Let's do something better with the money. But she didn't want that. She wanted to go to Michigan. And I was just not going to facilitate that. So I told her, hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and pull the GoFundMe. You were saying that you never wanted it. I've done all that I can do. Um, I said I will send Tina the resources that my community sends me. It's just better that we part ways and I work with those who want to help find Devlin and who aren't going to lie to me. I said, you don't have cancer. It's not on and off thing. And it makes sense now why Mr. E didn't want to work with you. That's a big lie. Right. And just to give a little bit of context to that, Jessica was trying to say that Mr. E and the E's crime cast only wanted to talk to one side of the family. And I was like, well, I wouldn't say that. I said they have a lot going on. And I also mentioned Middle E having the brain surgery and stuff because that was around the time that I was talking with Jessica too. And so I told her that I said, don't take it personally. They're very, very nice people. I said, but the thing is that they've been dealing with their own son's illness, which I, explained to her. And then she said something very rude that I won't repeat. And then she just said, I don't know. And because I said, well, yeah, I go, that's incorrect. And, I told her, I said, that's not right to be mad at them when they didn't do anything to deserve that, right? And so on December 2nd, guys, I did send her that, the order authorization that, Christmas was coming for AJ, right? That we sent out. So that was the last text message that I sent to Jessica. So here we go.
I feel like no one understands all the secrets I have to hide, and I struggle to make friends because of it.
Maybe it's a lack of self-awareness. It's narcissism, quite simply that they happen to think that everything they're doing is okay and fine, and it's important for them to feel better than anyone else around them.
Okay, guys. So, and that's how I feel about this situation. Really spot on. So, no, I haven't, Witchy, and that's the thing, they've been going through so much. Witchy says, have you seen the E's recent post asking for prayers? Sorry, off the topic. No, don't. No, it's really on topic because I think that Jessica needs to realize that when she makes these false, allegations or whatever you want to call them, these lies that she's weaving around, and that's Jessica with the long hair, right? The non-cancer having Jessica, who's a lying sack of shit. That there's actually people whose children are dealing with that. My best friend's granddaughter is 2 years old and has been battling leukemia. So it absolutely infuriates me and makes me sick at my stomach that somebody would do that. And Tammy's listened to my show. She knows that. That's why she made sure she sent me these 6 text messages to just, blow this shit out of the water. So bravo, Tammy. That's what happens when you send receipts. Right? And then also I want to point this out as well, guys. Devlin's home life exposed, and that even it ain't even the half of it, right? He's been missing for 7 months. I also want you guys to look at this picture. Now, this is the first time I've actually seen a side by side comparison or, right above comparison. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Devlin looks like he's blood related to the Taits. You know? Yeah, Shadow, it's terrible. It's terrible. I'm wondering if Devlin's biological father is probably Tim Hatfield, in my opinion. If you look at their ears, right? Ears to ears, right? If you look at the nose, it's not really exactly, and old people's noses get a little bigger, no offense, right? But this is Devlin's little face, but he is the spitting image of Bill Tait. The spitting image, in my opinion. And I have to say that, and I'm glad to get it off my chest because it's been bothering me for a while now, right? Trying to be respectful to his mother, and the fact that I wasn't there when Devlin was, being conceived or born or any of that. I gave the benefit of the doubt. But upon closer review, Devlin is a spitting image of Bill Tait. Look at that mouth. Look at Bill's mouth without the mustache. Try to picture it. And then look at Devlin. They have the same wide set forehead, basically the same hairline, right? So when people want to sit there and say, well, this is Ed Mansfield's kid, well, I think he looks like Bill Tait. So how's that possible? Right? And then you got Tim Hatfield, who hasn't said a fucking word, not a peep. But he signed the birth certificate and was married to Jessica for about 5 years. So what's up with that? They're twins, Holly. Like, I stumbled upon it, a few nights ago. And it was the same night I was looking up to talk to the pastor. So strong family resemblance, which, if we're to believe Jessica, and I mean no offense to Tina whatsoever, because she's been more of a grandmother to Devlin in the short time she knew him, in my opinion. But Jessica wants us to believe that this man Adam here is Devlin's father, right? And then Tim Hatfield is the one that's wearing the flannel shirt with a tie. He's bald on top and has a long mullet-like hairdo with a braided beard. Looks like a real winner. Hey, of Detroit. So yeah. Dysfunction junction. What's your function? Right? Just to make Devlin's life a freaking living hell. And people want to talk about their life being a living hell. Please. Right? So we're going to revisit this some more. All right, let's talk about Christmas for AJ. Christmas for AJ. Right? So let's talk about it, shall we? So I set up this Christmas for AJ thing. I told Jessica, please make a wish list. I'll share it on the show, right? We'll get a couple of things for him for Christmas, because she was complaining, and she complained about it on my panel that she wasn't going to have any Christmas for AJ. She complained about it in my chat that she wasn't going to have any Christmas for AJ, right? And so we all felt bad, and we were like, well, hell, let's try to do what we can, because that's what we do, right? As nice people that we are, nice people in general try to help each other out. It's a good feeling, right? So she puts a couple of items on the list, and I started sharing it out. Well, these items were not on the list whenever I started sharing it, but they were when I went to go buy Christmas presents for AJ. You know? So Jessica wanted for her 3-year-old, who is autistic and nonverbal, a Bissell Turbo Clean Pet Upright, right? For pets. For pets. Yeah, I appreciate you not doing that, KJ. I appreciate you not doing that, because I had no idea what she was having me share out. Yeah, and a dangerous wood burning kit, Andrea. It's unbelievable, right? A WEP 2-in-1 wood burning kit, right? Tools and home improvement for a 3-year-old. What exactly could she have been using that for? Because I asked people about that as well. I said, Does Devlin like these things? Because what is she doing? You know, is my biggest question. What the heck is she doing here? Right? Because does she have Devlin hiding out somewhere and this is something he asked for? I mean, it doesn't look good at all. It looks horrible, right? And it looked horrible to everybody, so nobody bought anything for AJ, which I'm sure was infuriating her as well, because her little scheme didn't work, right? All right. So we have a closer look at the wood burning kit, right? And then we also have a pack of 14 dog toys. Did I tell her that I would like to do a Christmas for her dog? No, I didn't. Did I tell her that I wanted to do a Christmas for her or whoever this wood burning shit is for? No, I didn't. So I'm like Tom Hanks up here. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right. She wanted also added to the list after the fact was a crock pot, an extra large one, 8 quarts, and she lives by herself, by the way. She lives by herself, yet she needs a crock pot built for 8 people. Her son AJ doesn't eat anything by mouth. So he can't eat anything, yet she wants an extra large crock pot for $70, by the way. It's nicer than my crock pot. Unbelievable, right? And then she wants a microwave for $80, right? Chefman countertop microwave for $80. It's a total nightmare. I couldn't even believe it. You know, I heard re whenever I was like looking at this that was sent to me. Right? I know, $30 at the most. You know, and we actually, you know, it's crazy. She don't want to make those calls though, but she was over there browsing and adding crap to this to make herself and everybody else and myself look bad. Yeah, garage sale, $10, Andrea, you know? Bo, I'm telling you know? How is the dad related to Bill Tait? That's his grandson. That's Tamara's son. So that Hatfield guy, Timothy Hatfield Jr., Joe, that is Bill Tait's grandson. That is Tamara's son with some Hatfield guy. He's a junior, so it was senior Hatfield. Yes, sir. So I'm guessing that Jessica lied about that too. Which again, I'm not Maury Povich or Ricky Lake or Jenny Jones or any of those people, right? I am, Jesse Raphael or any of those people. No, I am, or Montel. I'm Lady Freedom. I don't have anybody that can give me that sort of a test for these people, right? But I did learn last night, Joseph Scott Morgan was talking about how, a cigarette butt not only pulls in your saliva, but also you can get red blood cells from that. And I thought that was very interesting. All right, guys, because we're going to see you next year. Merry fucking Griftmas, right? Because it comes every year for some people. Last year was also Griftmas for Jessica. Let's watch. All right. So Jessica says to this Pam lady, because Pam says, "Hey, how you guys doing? Is AJ, recovering okay? How, seems like a nice lady." Jessica writes back, "He doesn't have a fever, but he's still extremely sick. He also desperately needs his Zofran to prevent his constant throwing up due to his 2 chromosome disorders, and insurance is refusing to pay for it until the 27th. Can't get it right now unless I pay $300 on top of all that. AJ is not going to get a Christmas this year due to me being incredibly broke and unable to give him any kind of Christmas, let alone have $300 to get him his Zofran. Right? This was last year, guys. Christmas of 24. Fast forward to Christmas of 25. I must be like Pam Ortega. She thinks that I'm an idiot. So Jessica says back to, or Pam says back to Jessica, excuse me, that's crazy. Insurance won't cover his meds. He needs them before now. Sounds insane. Don't worry too much before Christmas. He's still little, so doesn't know the difference. Love him with all you got. Pam Ortega wins. Chicken dinner to Pam Ortega. Chicken dinner to Pam Ortega. Love him with all you got, and that'll be enough for both of you. Again, I want to read this out loud for you in the nosebleeds. Love him with all you got. That'll be enough for both of you. I'm only off Christmas Day, but hope to see you before or after Christmas. I'll swing by your place soon. Jessica says back, he might be too young to remember, but I do. Rude, and unnecessary. You should have said, thank you, Pam. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you. Thank you for listening. But not Jessica. He might be too young to remember, but I do. And that's what's really messing with my head. And it doesn't help that some asshole commented on one of my posts the other day calling me an unfit mother. Well, I wonder why. Because your posts show that, Jessica. You want to put it out into the community and then you don't want anybody to give you their feedback? You're sadly mistaken. You're sadly mistaken. Right? Insurance is being extremely stupid. I have to wait till Monday to start being a bitch again till they get their act together, right? So everybody needs to get their act together besides you. And then one of these people told you to get your act together and now you're complaining to somebody like they can do shit about it. Pam says, don't worry what people say. They don't know you're with him every day and what you go through. It'll all be okay. I'm sure of it. Thanks, Pam, again, for being a sweetheart. The person that said it doesn't even know me, but they do. And they know you from your posts. They know you from your posts. I mean, unbelievable, guys. Unfriggin' believable. I mean, borderline from my armchair. Possible histrionic. Justice for Nuke. I knew it. Yeah, I mean, you guys were spot on, and I was too busy just copying the link and putting it down there. Hey, Indigo. Just put it in there. Because it's Christmas for AJ. I never thought she was going to pull any crap like this. But it looks like she's a pro.
I need answers.
Okay, guys. So these are the last text messages, last text correspondence between Jessica and her firstborn son, Devlin Tait. Let's watch. All right. So Devlin's name in Jessica's phone has now been changed from Devlin, my firstborn son, the love bombing, right? Because that's what people do on the dark triad, to Devlin Lee Pain in the ... Again, Tammy vibes, right? So on Friday, April 18th is when these start. All right. So we have Up Close and Personal, Friday, April 18th at 7:11 a.m. Are you up yet? And that is Devlin texting his mother. nothing until 9 a.m. He says morning mama, but afternoon my time, because Devlin is 3 hours ahead of Jessica. So it was noon his time, but he said morning. Again to her. She did not text him back. On Saturday, April 19th, did you hang up on me? Right? So Saturday, April 19th, Jessica had to have hung up on her son Devlin. Right? And that was the last time that he texted her, was at 1:57 p.m. on Saturday, April 19th. Right? So he went missing Monday, April 21st. So something must have happened between Jessica and Devlin on Saturday, which would cause Devlin not to want to talk to his mother on Easter. If you think that I have it wrong, please explain it to me. Please show me where I'm wrong. Because when I look at this, my brain is filling in the blanks. And it's telling me that you hung up on your son at 1:57 your time, and then you didn't bother calling or texting him for Easter either. So you guys must have been in a fight on Saturday too. So not only was he fighting with you that weekend before he went missing on Monday, he was also fighting with Sabrina. No one is better than the next person in this case, period. Monday, April 21st at 5:44 p.m. Now, guys, again, this is going to be 9:44 Devlin's time, right? Or, excuse me, 8:44. Yeah, because they're 3 hours. Okay, so 8:44, excuse me, p.m. She says, call me ASAP. It's an emergency, Devlin. And that's the last text message correspondence between Jessica and her son Devlin before he went missing. I feel so bad for Devlin, KJ. The manipulations, all of that. Thank you, Bo. You know, it's like we can't overlook any of this. And this was sent to me by Jessica the night that we had our lovely Shauna, for our friend Shauna, in the chat. And she said, you know, hey, listen, I need to know the last text time so I can put it on my map, right? And Jessica sent this to me in order for her to be able to listen to it, right? No, I don't know about Bill being his Bill Tait being his bio dad. I don't have my tinfoil hat on that hard, but they look exactly alike, CC. So I'm thinking that uh Timothy Hatfield could be Devlin's biological father. They look way more alike than the other two in question, which would be Adam Nolan and a guy named Ed Mansfield. So all right, guys, and this is Devlin. You know, he is from Lake Odessa, Michigan. He went missing April 21st, 2025. He has not been seen or heard from since that day, right? So again, I'm looking for Katie, who is someone who possibly met Devlin over at the park, over at Swifty's Park in Lake Odessa on Easter Sunday of 2025. right? That would have been April 20th, 2025. And if you met Devlin at the park, please reach out to me. I just want to talk to you about his demeanor and how things were going with him. It's very important that I find out this information so I can help find him and locate him. So please do reach out. So we're going to keep following along with this case, guys, because it is important to get all of the information out for Devlin. You know, he deserves it. Um, he does not deserve to fall through the cracks of the situation, right? But he already has big time. Thank you, little Miss Sharon, so much for the super sticker. Thank you. But they just look so similar. That's the problem that I'm having. I just smashed my laptop into 100 pieces. Oh no, Joe, be careful with that. She said that she last talked to Devlin in the on Saturday is when she told me she last talked to him, Andrea. Was Saturday, you know. Thank you, Indigo. Thank you very much. Um Pray he isn't hurt but took off away from all of it. I know, and that's one big strong possibility. You know, somebody that I spoke to just recently told me that Devlin was treated like garbage and that, you know, they wouldn't be surprised if he ran away. But then again, you know, he's the type of person that would have called. I was also told by the same person that Devlin um told this person that he didn't think his mother loved or wanted him. And I believe that. Right? I believe that. I thought Devlin felt very loved. Hey Kiki. I felt like Devlin did feel very loved by his mother because the text messages that she was sending me was showing me that. Now once I got into more of these text messages, the more recent ones, I can see the pattern of where there was the breakdown in communication, the hanging up on me, right? So, I thought it was more so because of Devlin's phone being, you know, because the one time he said, I did not hang up on you, and he was very upset, right? When Jessica asked him, did you hang up on me? But that was them going back and forth, and that's something that they were used to doing. So, um, that's what's really sad about that, you know? So, and Jessica doesn't have her other two daughters either, Andrea. They live in California. So, you know, there's that. And I fear that Jessica is going to get into the position where she's going to have to deal with the state intervening with AJ because of her actions, you know? And that's what's really, really sad because nobody wants that to happen. You know, nobody wants that to be a possibility or an outcome. So that's what's extremely sad about that. Put my Santa back up. So no worries, Kiki. I'm glad you're here. We went over a lot tonight. But it's a good thing. I mean, you know, we needed to do it. It was important that we got it done, especially because, you know, it's necessary to his case for everybody to understand and be on the same page with all of this, you know. Um, so I'm going to be working on a documentary style video to show to you guys about Devlin Tait's case. I will be working on that full steam ahead, but of course it's probably going to take me a little while to do so. Um, this weekend, I really want to get my Christmas stuff up so I can have the background and we can, so I can do my lives and stuff like that. Next week, we're going to go full steam ahead, right? So we're going to have a special guest next week. I'm still working out the details there because this person does work. And, but we are going to get a better picture of who Devlin was and what happened to him. And I think that you guys will really enjoy getting to know that big piece of this puzzle. And I also think it'd be very informative, I know, Hope Floats, same here. I've been going over my notes and trying to put them all into like one location. I have notes started, but then I have a notebook as well. So, but I'm going to be doing that, most definitely getting that together. Um, so if you guys see anything strange out there, send it to me. We're also going to be going, to for Sebastian's case. We might even be doing some comparisons with the cases because they're very similar. They're just so very similar. Um, but just know that we're going to keep on peeling back the onion, and we never know what we're going to find when we peel it back. I didn't think that I was going to you know become so involved in Devlin's story in the case. But just moving forward, we're gonna focus on Devlin because nobody else ever has, which is really, really sad. Um, I know it is a stump. It is. KJ Max says I'm not even going to try to understand their family tree. It's not even a tree, it's a stump, and it is. It's just it stumps everybody that looks at it. Anybody that, when Tammy says that's my brother, people are like, "How do you figure?" Um yeah, I'm praying for the same thing, Kiki, that we have, Sebastian's cases moving forward, and all of that. So yeah, we still have a lot to get into. I want to show you guys all the crap that's been going on in Devlin's case as well. When it comes to this reward money business, there was way more made on this reward, and we're going to get into that as well. So we'll probably focus on doing that a little bit this weekend. Um, but yeah, I'll be working probably on the Christmas decorations and stuff Sunday. So I might not do a show Sunday, but I'll see you guys tomorrow night. So I think that'll be good. If not, maybe we can do something during the day tomorrow. I just don't see that happening, and I keep trying to do a day show and I keep having to push it to the nighttime. So thank you, Gypsy. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I'm trying really, really hard to just tell what happened here. It's there's a lot, there's a lot. So it's just like I said, peeling back the layers and just trying to see what happened here. And then again, also, I just want to keep reiterating about children who are on the spectrum, and people, I know that Devlin's closer to being an adult than he is a child, and he was emancipated. But when these kids are taught these things, it's hard for them not to repeat some of the things that they've been, shown and things like that. And it's just tough. Thank you, Kiki. Thank you. And I'm so glad, that we were able to at least help as much as we did. I think that is a good thing. And I'm never sad about that. And like I said, I'm so glad that we lit a fire under some of these people's, arses. In their local town. Like if they don't want people talking about the case and only them, then they need to come with it. Like bring it. I want to see what you guys have to say. Like I'll be stealing screenshots from your show instead of the other way around, and information because, that's what we all need to be doing to work together. But I have made some really good contacts in this case as well, to where I think that people are at least trying to care and trying to show that they want Devlin found, which is the most important part of this. If I could help a single mother out, that is just a bonus, right? But the main focus always is and has to be Devlin Tate. Where is Devlin Tate? What could have happened to him? And, this area is not big, like I said, guys. I'm also going to be working on getting some of these routes out to all of us so we can, discuss them as well. Maybe Devlin decided to take off out of town that day. You know what I mean? Maybe Devlin decided that he was going to walk to Sandra's and something happened. Now, the people that have told me some of the familiar routes that Devlin would like to take, told me that he would probably have been seen. But I mean, I have to examine everything. So I'm just grateful to have that knowledge and then see what we can do to move forward on it. But I will say that I think that a lot of resources were spent looking for Devlin in Lake Odessa, and I think maybe it's time to kind of branch out a little bit more. Again, Devlin was on foot. He was wearing cowboy boots, black cowboy boots to be exact. And, with him dressed that way, people could have, noticed him. Another thing is surveillance. I don't know why there isn't surveillance showing Devlin if he was in fact walking anywhere, right? So, yeah. Yeah, exactly, KJ. That is very true. Children always give up their parents by the types of things they say and do, and the parents look mortified and say, "We don't do that." Yeah, sure. Didn't just yeah, just fall off the turnip truck. That's right. And I agree with that. That is so well said, KJ. And that's the problem, right? That we see with the parents. They're like appalled when the children act out, but they're doing the same thing. And the children are simply modeling the behaviors that the adults are exhibiting, right? Which is absolutely wrong to turn around and shake your finger and say, "How dare you?" Shame on you, in other words, when the child learned that from how they grew up. Or because one of the parents, likes to say, the S bomb or the F bomb, and then the kids pick it up, right? So yeah, I know it is weird, Kiki. It was because they didn't want him around and he didn't want to have to do his chores, and there was a lot of reasons why he did that. He just didn't want to be around them, which is very sad. It's sad because, that put him into a vulnerable situation. And that's why I can't rule out um other options in this case. With Sebastian, it's a little different because he was isolated and controlled. Um, Sometimes communicating with an autistic son or daughter can sound strange to normal people. Yes, little Miss Sharon, exactly, because it's your own language that you've had to kind of learn to understand and relate to each other, and other people probably don't understand that. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's important to remember those things. And, it's important to remember that we're all different, right? And it's sad because, Devlin could have really used somebody to be in his corner, you know? He just really could. Or they blame the neighborhood kids, who you hanging out with, exactly. Yeah, most teens are in bed late. Exactly. Well, he had that 10 o'clock curfew that was imposed on him by the judge. Um, yeah, and he was stuck to the living room floor. That's what's so sad, KJ. And I mean, I would have to agree with some people, like, why would they tell on themselves like that? But it's just leakage. Yeah, they would probably trip over him on the floor, and that's why, Sabrina was saying, "Hey, you got to get up so I can get Julia something to eat." Um, yeah, he couldn't be a normal child. It is so sad, and he had no space to get away from any of this stuff, right? It was just a constant barrage of family members, adult family members, no, nobody gives a squat. No, they don't. They don't. Not diddly squat, you know? And sleeping on the floor is awful. It really is. Just a very horrible environment. Yeah, and it is so sad, Gail. He didn't have his own room, not his own room, not his own spot to go to, you know? Well, and that's the thing too. Yeah, the baby would wake up early, most likely, and Devlin's needs were not considered at all. And and that's the thing too, KJ. I agree with that. And then on top of it, it does show Devlin getting up early, like texting his mom at 7:11 her time. So he was up, pretty early to be doing that as well. 3 hours, yeah, but in the same way, he always talked to his mom. He always texted her. Um, so that yeah, it's a tough situation. I think he stayed tired and hungry too, Kiki, and he just never had a place that he can call his own. You know, they were all horrible toward him. They were, and what sucks so bad too, Justice for Nuke, is that um, I thought maybe he had one person. I was really hoping that his mom was that one person that was just kind of, he could lean on her. I know that there was a couple of good friends that he had as well, but I was really hoping she would be the one to, be the soft place to land. Oh, it's so sad, Gypsy. It's so sad. This makes me so very sad. Poor kid. And, we're going to get more into what Devlin went through as we go along, kind of in this little series thing, because yeah, it bothers me to no end that like this all didn't stop when he went missing, and everybody kind of took a step back and said, wow, we really took Devlin for granted and we shouldn't have done that to him, and nobody has remorse. um they should all be charged with neglect to a person with disabilities, every damn one, including Jessica, knowing stuff and not reporting it. I agree, Justice for Nugan. We were talking about it in terms of calling adult protective services and things like that. Those are the things that were really needed to be done and weren't, because Devlin was crying out for help and no one was helping him. you know KJ says he wouldn't be able to sleep until they all left the living room and had to get up when they came in. What an absolute shit show. I know, KJ, absolutely. It's very sad. It's very sad. And he just wanted to be loved. Yes, Kiki, exactly. And he was very loving and showing that affection and loving side as well. Gypsy says, I was just thinking that, Kiki. And he was showing that to in order to receive it back, right? But he never did get that. I know. I've really been biting my tongue, Kiki, because I mean, I didn't want, you know, because I knew that would blow everything up. If I said to her, "Hey, I'm going to show these text messages that Tammy sent me," I knew it was going to kind of hit the destruct button. But I also thought maybe she would be um explaining some things, right? Like I figured maybe she would say, "Well, I told her that because I wanted her off my back," or you know what I'm saying, something. But we didn't get that. Andrea says my daughter is high functioning autistic and she had to be told every single day I love her, and she has to hear from me, um everyone, and I love that so much. And I love that too, and I think it's oh, she needs to hear from me every day. Thank you. Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, and I mean, and I think all of us like to hear that, but especially when they need that sensory input, right? They need that. It's very, very important for them, and it's not fair for them not to get it, especially when we know that that's what they need. That's the worst type of That's one of the worst traits in narcissism, is that the narcissist knows what we need. They're just refusing to give it to us. And it's a punishment. It's a form of punishing us, right? Withholding love. But they know exactly how we need to be loved and what we need, and they just refuse to do it. Of course, he broke into a place to sleep. He probably was flipping exhausted. I know, or to use the phone, which is very sad in and of itself as well. It is very lovely. Yes, and Bless says a common thread that seems to run through these missing children's cases, in my opinion, is levels of neglect from passive to more often malicious. I agree. And falling through the cracks, right? Bless is just so well said. Um, yeah, and they're patterns. They're definite patterns, and we see these elements and these dynamics across the board. You know. Exactly. Andrea says, I'm glad that she wants to talk to me every day. She lives on her own and I'm thankful. Yeah, but she also wants to hear from you, and that's wonderful too. I love that. Yeah, control and manipulation, Kiki. Exactly. Exactly. Yep, boom, bless. Got it. Yes, KJ. Yeah. That's right. Little Miss Sharon says mine too. I have to say I love you every day and every night. Yes. Yeah, and that's so important and special. And when you don't have that, you would think that they would be just missing that, right? I've just not seen a genuine response from this family, and it's very disheartening. It's very disheartening. So, KJ Maxx says the trouble with the law was direct result of his treatment, and he needed a soft place to land and not punishment. I agree with that, KJ, and that's what we're seeing. Um, we're definitely seeing the results of Devlin's neglect, right? Just outwardly in the community. Even people in the community knew that he wasn't eating enough, because that's why Penny's was giving him pizza, off the buffet, was because he needed to eat. Cece says, in my opinion, they don't care about Devlin and was just concerning all of their own feelings, too much self-absorption. I agree, Cece, and that's the hardest part, and it is so sad. Um, but yeah, it's a very clear to see, right? Because Devlin needed someone, and he needs people now, and they're all too worried about themselves, right? Tammy's worried about herself, Sabrina's worried about herself, Jessica's worried about herself, not about AJ, because if it was about AJ, she wouldn't have, put that stuff on her list. Oh, I agree how the people near him didn't see him, and it's beyond me. I know, and it's so sad, right? And what could have caused this to keep, what could have caused all of this to happen with Devlin? Like, who had, again, the means, the motive, the opportunity? That's what we're going to be looking at and examining. um but I love you guys all so very, very much. I hope that you guys will join me in trying to figure out what happened to Devlin. Um, it's really, really important that we figure this out. And like I said, I don't think the answer is far away. I think it's probably something that everyone has missed, unfortunately. Gypsy says, my boys are adults and they still all tell each other we love each other. Oh, I cannot even imagine not doing that. My son on the spectrum is 26 years old. It's a love bug. Oh, that's so sweet, Gypsy. I know. I mean, I tell my daughter I love her all the time. I do. I do. I tell her how proud I am of her and how much I love her, you know. And she's also grown. She's also an adult. Um, so prayers for Devlin. Thank you, Andrea. Oh, starting Winter Monday. Oh, good. Oh my goodness. Good, Kiki. They even used him after he went missing with the bake sale and the auction for the money. I know, Cece, and it's so bad. Like what they did with that bake sale and everything, and how they're handling all of that is so bad. It really is. It's and the more they try to fix what they've done, the worse they're doing with it. It's terrible. And for some reason people don't understand how a trust works. Right? They just don't. They don't get it. It's like put the money in a trust and no one has to keep it, you know? Thanks, Bo, for the blue hearts. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm gonna be working hard. Again, the Greenville lead, I don't think that was Devlin. I haven't heard anything back. Tried to reach out. I just don't think it's Devlin. What people can do if they live out in the area, just go check over there. So the really good one, Gypsy, to watch would be the one in the playlist with Sabrina. It's a 4-hour live, but it's a lot of information. And I'm working on cutting that up too and getting that out, in small doses because I know it's easier for people to watch it that way. So I'll be doing that too and getting that out on TikTok and stuff. So but again, I love you guys all so very much. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you next time.